Yeah. It's been a ride. I guess I had to go to that place.
Hi, my name is Melissa, and I'd like to state the reason why I'm recording this video. I have Limbe-Girdle muscular dystrophy, and I've been on YouTube several times, multiple times, especially recently, and I really haven't found too many videos about it. There are some especially geared toward guys, and I don't know how many of you know much about Limbe-Girdle muscular dystrophy, but it usually just affects men. Well, obviously I'm not a guy. So the reason I'm posting this is to show individuals what it does to your life and how I live my life. I don't really know what to say exactly. I've never posted a video on YouTube, but I figure I can't complain about there not being any videos if I myself don't post any. So I'm just gonna leave this as my first one, and hopefully I'll get a little less camera shy and help other people to maybe cope with other issues that they have, especially Limbe-Girdle muscular dystrophy. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and continue. I really didn't say a whole lot in my first video as to how I even came to find out that I have muscular dystrophy. I was diagnosed at age 11 at Children's. They did a muscle biopsy. I was actually misdiagnosed before they did that. I was given the option then to do a heel cord lengthening surgery, which who at age 11 knows what they really want. But anyways, I opted not to do it. So I spent another 10 years walking on my toes, which is actually the first real, or I say major, sign that anything was wrong with me. Growing up, I didn't have much balance. I'd fall over more than the other kids. Riding my bike got harder and harder. And when I went to middle school, I was super excited because it was just down the street, and my dad said I could ride my bike. Well, the first day that I rode it there, I came back home, and I was like, I'm never doing that again. Well, I couldn't really figure out why I said that, and it was really just because it was really difficult for me, and I ended up walking, which there in its own had its own challenges, because walking was difficult for me also. Wow, my arm looks really big that far up. Anyways, I got made fun of a lot in school. I didn't get picked for anything. I don't know, I was just different. I was still walking. It wasn't until actually recently that I was put in a wheelchair, but I was still significantly different. You know, I didn't play sports, I couldn't run. One time I was in the cafeteria and some girl came up behind me and shoved me to the floor, and I think that's when, I don't know, I really realized how different I was. That people actually didn't like me because of my condition, which is sad, honestly, because, you know, I'm just like everyone else. I like to have fun, I like to have friends, I have 2 dogs, but back to when I was diagnosed, things weren't too difficult back then. I have to say that I don't remember, other than climbing stairs and running, but I had a pretty normal childhood. I had friends that did like me, that I hung out with a lot. They were guy friends, so I did get a lot of piggyback rides, which was a total bonus since we played in the basement a lot and there were a lot of stairs. Let's see. I would say by 16 was the most significant change. My next door neighbor had a wheelchair, and my dad was worried about me because I would fall down a lot. I never hurt myself too bad. I've never broken anything, but he really thought it would be best if I spent the majority of my time in a wheelchair, which I fought tooth and nail, because I thought once I was in it, I wouldn't get out of it. Needless to say, I didn't really use it too much, unless I remember going to the zoo a few times. Long distances were super hard. My back had a sway in it. Not like scoliosis, it was just the weakness of my lower back muscles kind of made my back sway. So walking, I kind of ran out of breath sooner than later. So that's really when I started using a wheelchair. And then few years later, it's been almost a year and a half now, I finally had the tendon release surgery on both of my feet, kind of against my doctor's better judgment, but at the same point, I was at the stage where I could hardly walk from the front of my house to the back of my house without great fatigue. So I thought, well, maybe, if my feet could touch the ground, then that would make it easier. And that was my coffee machine. Well, it did work. The tendon release surgery did work. I had recovery of close to 9 months, which during that time my muscles in my back severely atrophied, which is the words that were used when I had my x-rays done. So from then on, I've been in a wheelchair. I've learning how to adapt. I've had to have people come in and help me do things, such as bathing. I mean, I can bathe myself, but getting in and out, I can't do. Getting onto the toilet. I actually, before I had the surgery, I had a hard time getting up from the toilet, so I used to pee in a cup. So, I could also pee standing like a man, but sometimes it didn't work out so well, so I moved on to a cup. I know, that's kind of a lot of information for somebody, and I'll just leave it at that. Anyways, ever since the people have been coming in to help me, life has gotten a little easier. I don't have to exert myself too much in the day, which helps me do other things that I like to do. I have dogs that I love to death. I have 2 pit bulls. Think what you may, they're the best dogs I've ever had. And they're really probably my closest friends. They spend the majority of the time with me just laying around and playing ball, and they bring a lot of joy to my life. Now, as far as eating goes, I can still feed myself, and I can still go to the fridge and get something out of it. A wheelchair kind of gets in the way sometimes, but I've really kind of learned to manage it. Anything in the upper cabinets is off limits to me unless somebody's here to get it. But, I don't know, life has really been different than I imagined. Today's my birthday, actually. I turned 22. And it's not quite where I thought I'd be. But I try to take it day by day. and there's actually a lot to talk about as far as, I don't know, how I live my life with Limbe-Girdle muscular dystrophy. And I don't want to overwhelm you. It's almost 9 minutes. Who knows? You may not even want to know. So I will let the comments decide whether I continue to post videos. I'd like to show you how I do things. Might have to invest in a camera that I can see myself doing things while you see me do them. But that's okay. I'm willing to do that if other people think it would help them maybe see what their life might be like later on. But anyways, that's part of my story. Sorry I kept rambling. I'm not used to this. This is my first video I've ever posted. My name is Melissa. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah. It's been a ride. I guess I had to go to that place to get to this one. Now some of you might still be in that place. If you're trying to get out, just follow me. I'll get you there.